Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story TV and the Her Story podcast. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Hi, my name is Katie Forbis. I'm based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm 28 years old. And I'm here to tell you guys about how I gave up my prestigious corporate career to pursue my dream of working with wolves. So my story really starts back when I was a child, as many lifelong dreams really do. I first saw a photo of a wolf when I was in kindergarten, going to the library one day. We were supposed to pick a book to read, and I saw this image of a gray wolf with the white block text that said wolves on it. And I thought in my little 5-year-old head, that's the most beautiful creature I've ever seen. I love it. It's my favorite animal, and it has been ever since. As I grew up, I was an individual that always continued that love and passion for wolves, and that reputation would often precede me. I met several people during my high school, college careers. They'd say, I don't know anything about you, but I've heard you love wolves. That's how strong the passion was. But when I was in college, I was studying business marketing. As much as I loved wolves my entire life, I was never a science person. Biology, chemistry, all of that, like good stuff that you need to be good at in order to pursue a lot of careers with animals, just wasn't a good fit for me. I was much more artistic, drawn to things like photography and fashion and advertising. So I picked business marketing as my career of choice. That's not to say I was super passionate about it. It was just something that I could do. I enjoyed. I was like, I can do this. I can work with this. It's fine. So I studied business marketing, and I graduated, and I didn't really want to hop into the corporate world right away. I pursued professional photography using my business degree for a couple of years. Very quickly found out that freelance was not a good fit for me. Anyone that is not naturally type A will probably relate to that. Being your own boss is just not often the best solution for people like that. And I apologize for any dog sounds in the back. As someone who loves wolves, it should be no surprise that I have a couple of dogs of my own. But so after I pursued professional photography for a little bit, and then decided it wasn't a good fit for me to do freelance any longer, I started working in the marketing field. And I worked for a variety of companies here in the beginning, everything from a jewelry store, a couple of different jewelry lines, all the way into where I am now, which is in the behavioral health and substance use disorder field. So think helping people find services for substance use disorders, anything like any sort of mental health issues that they might be having, helping them find treatment that works for them. And that's where I've been for the last 3 years. I have a really great position with the company that I'm with and working with at this point in time. My direct supervisor went on maternity leave during COVID, and she decided not to come back to the company. And during that time when she was away, which was about 8 to 10 months before a replacement was hired, I was reporting directly to the chief marketing officer at my company. And my company is a Fortune 300 company. So I'm sure you can imagine this is a big company. Our marketing department has almost 100 people in it already. And I, as an individual contributor, was reporting up to one of the top people at this company. So during this time, my team and I all earned really well-deserved respect from the leadership within our organization for the amount of work and the effort that we put into making sure the department continued to function optimally, even without having a direct supervisor and having to operate on our own. And so as I'm going through this prestigious marketing career at this big, awesome company, I still felt directionless. It was just marketing. It's fine. It's healthcare. I'm helping people. I love, I'm put on this earth, I think, to help in some capacity. I think that's a very human thing to want to do. But I certainly wasn't driven in any sort of professional way, other than I want to make money, I want to support my family, and I want to have a positive impact in the world. And so circling back, so that's where I am career-wise. In my personal life, in 2019, I rescued a special needs dog. And about a month into ownership of her, I learned that she was actually a low content wolf dog, which means that genetically she is around 25% wolf. I found that out via an Embark DNA test. And this was a little bit of a surprise to us, especially considering she already had some special needs. She's got EPI, which is exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. Fancy way of saying she doesn't, her body is incapable of digesting anything on her own. And she also has severe bilateral hip dysplasia, which was diagnosed about a month after we rescued her. And then the DNA results were soon after this. So as I was owning this wolf dog, I had always loved wolves. I had adopted her because, I mean, she looked wolf-y. Now that I know how to phenotype wolves, wolf dogs, and all of that stuff, I look at her and I'm like, she just looks like a Malamute. But she kind of scratched that itch for me in my personal life. And through ownership of her, wolf dogs sort of became my hobby for a while. I got plugged into the wolf dog community online. There are lots of educational forums on Facebook and Reddit. I very quickly found a couple of mentors that were incredibly influential in my educational learning and learning how to provide optimal care for this animal because, like it or not, I had an animal that was high needs, not just for her health, but for what she was. There's a lot of learning I had to do in order to be the best caretaker that I could, because once I had her, I just absolutely couldn't rehome her. I had to mold myself into the perfect caretaker instead. And she certainly provided a ton of challenges. Wolf dog ownership, even low contents who are mostly dog, are not for most homes. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, not my best friend, not my worst enemy, only for the crazy, crazy people who are willing to dedicate their lives to these animals and their well-being and all of that good stuff. If you like vacations or you like being able to, live a normal life, definitely not an animal for you. But I'm one of the crazy crazies that's willing to have my whole life revolve around an animal. So it was a natural fit for me. So as I got plugged into the wolf dog community and started learning from these mentors, I naturally stepped into an educational role myself. Mentorship was very influential in my education and my ownership of my pup. And so I very naturally wanted to be a helping hand for other individuals who might have been in similar situations to me. So through ownership of her, I stayed connected to her foster mom, the woman I adopted her from. Her foster mom was a woman that had worked at a wolf sanctuary in Texas for a while. And when I met her, I was like, this woman is so cool. I just want to stay connected to her because she is living my dream. She's working with wolves. She's doing all of this fun stuff. I can just live vicariously through this woman. So I'd added her on Facebook and we stayed in touch. One day, this woman made a Facebook post where it was very inspirational. And then the closing line was, chasing dreams is easy, catching them is hard. And that line stuck with me so much. I was ruminating on it for hours and hours that day. And my husband and I were taking our dogs for a walk. And then I mentioned the post to him, and then just immediately had like a complete and total mental breakdown in the middle of our neighborhood, because I was like, what am I doing? This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I love. I love these animals more than anything else in the world. And I'm in healthcare marketing. Like, fine, it's fine. It pays the bills, but like my dream from the moment I saw these animals was to be with them, was to work with them, was to benefit them, was to just dedicate my life to living with them. And so it was that day and that Facebook post that really pushed me to decide, you know what? You've got a really awesome thing going for you in Nashville. You've got an amazing job, but it's not what we're here to do. So from that day, which was towards the end of 2020, I started pursuing this dream with everything that I had. I started networking with anyone and everyone that I could that worked with these animals in any sort of capacity. I would travel to different sanctuaries and rescues across the country, offering my professional photography skills in exchange for time to sit down with the founders or the executive directors or people that work in the industry to learn what I could from them. I met a lot of private owners who were able to tell me about their day-to-day lives, how to build enclosures, the problems they face, etc. And that was really my focus, as well as doing lots of research, reading all the books about Yellowstone wolves, Dr. Meach's research, for anything and everything, wolves and wolf dogs both, because I knew that I wanted to work with them, and in order to work with them, I needed to make myself a really competitive candidate. I didn't have the animal care background outside of my personal pet, and I also didn't have a science background. But what I did have was a corporate marketing career and a business marketing education with a focus in social media management and digital marketing. And I very quickly learned through networking with other nonprofits in my area, not even necessarily animal care nonprofits, was that most nonprofit organizations don't have people who are educated in how to do business or how to do marketing or any of the best practices. And so I was able to use this skill and education that I never thought would serve me to start pursuing this dream and make myself a great candidate for an organization that way. And so during this time, I applied to an internship at a great organization in Indiana called Wolf Park. And it was the absolute dream to intern with them and learn from them, because they do a lot for wolves. And I applied at the beginning of 2021 with the goal to intern in 2022 or 2023. And then I had in September of 2021 an event that almost ended my life. So I, out of nowhere, one evening had a series of 5 seizures right after one another. It's called a status epilepticus type seizure. And so I was having these seizures back to back, and I would regain consciousness, but when I would lose consciousness, I would also lose the ability to breathe. The neurons in my brain were not firing whatever neurons need to tell your heart to breathe, your lungs to work. I was turning blue. My husband thought that he was holding his dead wife in his arms. And it was truly, truly awful. And then I faced a diagnosis of, some people have one seizure event in their life. This is going to happen all the time. And I couldn't drive for 6 months. I had to deal with a lot of healthcare issues and problems through that. And basically a lot of medical professionals were then telling me I could not do this internship. They were like, Katie, if this happens to you again, it is very dangerous. It could kill you. And right now we don't know what triggered it. So you don't need to be accepting an internship where you're going to be doing manual labor for 5-6 days a week, 10 hours a day. Like, it's just not a good idea for you. And that was really tough for me. I had been given this great opportunity to intern with an amazing facility. And then I was told I couldn't do it because of this thing that happened to me, because of the risks to my health and my life. That was a really tough challenge. But through that, the woman that I rescued my dog from saw this, and she reached out to me a few months later and said that she had an opening for social media, a social media coordinator on her for her organization that she was working at, where she has around 60 wild canines, wolf dogs, dingoes, New Guinea singing dogs, foxes, and coyotes. And she wanted me to work remotely for her in a capacity that didn't endanger my life at all. And I immediately said yes. I said, yes, absolutely. I would love to do social media for you. And I traveled out to her sanctuary, and it was the most amazing facility I've ever seen. And it was everything that I dreamed it would be. Everyone on her staff is there for the animals and operates under the North Star guidance that the animals always come first. And that being there, I realized I can't stay in Nashville any longer. I am meant to be in New Mexico. And since then, I've been working. I've been working for her since January, and my husband and I are moving out to New Mexico, basically selling all of our possessions to go live in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico, to work and live at the sanctuary grounds. My neurologist gave me some rescue drugs, so if I ever have another seizure and I'm not able to have medical care because we're so remote, at least I have a chance to have some sort of remedy. But it truly is a fantastic opportunity, and I'm incredibly excited.
That is amazing. I lived in New Mexico for a while, Katie.
Oh, that's fantastic. Where were you?
I was lecturing at the University of New Mexico in film.
Oh, great.
Absolutely loved the high desert. It is an
Yes.
exquisite place.
I had never been before, and it was crazy traveling from when I went there this spring. I was out there for a couple of weeks, and then I came back to Nashville, and spring had sprung. And the difference between high desert foliage versus like Tennessee, I had never realized how stark the differences were.
It is beautiful. It's absolutely
Mhm.
beautiful. I lived in Albuquerque,
Oh,
and you
great.
get that extreme hotness when it's
Mhm.
summer. Then in winter it snows. So you're going to absolutely love it. It's an exquisite landscape. Let's
It
go back to the younger you, the young,
absolutely.
the young woman who found herself in a profession she didn't like. You had this yearning and a calling to do something else, and you followed your instinct. If there was someone listening to us right now who's in the same position, knowing they're doing the wrong thing professionally but don't know how to get out, what three nuggets of wisdom could you give them based on what life has taught you?
The thing that I would recommend is do what you can. You know, I knew that I wanted to work with wolves, and I didn't even consider that I could do it in a professional setting until quite long into my journey of wolves being my hobby. So, being able to do something that you're passionate about, even if it's in a very small capacity, can help open those doors for you. Second piece of advice would be to seek mentors. I cannot understate how influential other people's knowledge has impacted me and their experiences and everything that they learned, being able to pass that on to me was the most valuable piece of information that I had. And then if I had to pick third, do it as soon as you start to feel that way, because we only get one life to live. This is it. And if you're feeling called to do something, do it. Do what you can to do it, because you're gonna feel that way until you do
And
it.
that's really good advice. Don't procrastinate, just do it. Now, they say that you learn a lot when you work with animals. Give us the top things that you have learned as a metaphor for life in working with wolves.
Oh man, that's such a great question. I think the thing that I've learned the most is working with these animals, you have to be so patient and very consistent, especially in the rescue setting, because you know these animals are not at the sanctuary because they had these amazing lives and then just needed a sanctuary placement. Many of them have things like neuroses or anxieties or a lot of behavioral challenges that are really difficult to manage. But then being in this setting as a caretaker, you learn how to engage with them, and sometimes it's just through the fence or from very far away. And you learn how to meet the animal where they are. And you also learn that you have to be patient to understand what the animal needs from you. And that's not unlike humans. Humans are all very different with different needs and different pasts and histories. And so being able to patiently wait for somebody to communicate or open up, so you know how to engage with them in a way that's productive and helpful and kind.
Now, let me take you into the future as my last question for you. I know there's going to be people who want to get hold of you, who want to find out about your work. I've got your website playing at the bottom of the screen. So let me teleport you into the future now. You're 100 years old. You're sitting in your rocking chair, surrounded by your children, your grandchildren, your wolves, your dogs, and your cats. If you could go to the future you and have a conversation with this wise woman who led you to live this amazing, exquisite life, what would you say to her based on how you're living your life right now?
Oh man, I would just say thank you. And it's something that I'm saying every day to the universe. Just thank you for chasing the dreams. Thank you for sacrificing everything to do the thing that you were made to do. And like I said, I say that every single day, even though I'm not out there yet, even though I'm not, 100 years old with everything around me, and even quite to the point of where it is my day in, day out. I am just so incredibly thankful for the opportunities that I have. And I am overwhelmed with gratitude. And so that's the only thing that I could think to say is just thank you.
I like asking that question because a lot of times women don't realize that we do have the answers to everything we want in life. It's already in us. And sometimes I go into meditation, I tune into my future self, and I ask her, what is our next step? How am I going to do this? How am I going to get there? So you do have all the answers that you need to have an absolutely magical life. And Katie, you are just an example of that possibility. Somebody who followed her instinct, you followed your gut, you knew what you wanted to do with your life, and now you're living it. So thank you for showing up today and sharing this amazing story with our audience. Is there anything I should have asked you and I didn't?
I don't think so. The only question that I could think that I would like to push is if you are interested in making any donations, you can go to wildspiritwolfsanctuary.org. And it's a great organization where the animals really do come first. So truly worthwhile.
Thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is connecting with some phenomenal women from all over the world. Women who are living their best lives, women who are taking risks that they would not normally take because they know what they want in life. So if you're one of those women and you're sitting on the fence, not sure which way your life should go, take a page out of Katie's book, follow your instinct, follow your gut, and live your best life. And Katie, thank you again for this amazing interview.
Thank you for having me. I'm incredibly thankful for this opportunity and love the work that you do.
Bye for now, everybody. I'll be back next week. Tune in again for yet another fascinating story on the Her Story TV podcast. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.